This is a trip I've been meaning to do for some time, but here we are. And here is the Filofax. Now, this is a Filofax Malden, and I have bought one of these before. Let's just have a quick look at this label. It says, there's several labels here. There's 4 different labels. This is interesting. I want to zoom in on this. And I'm not judging, but I'm curious about this. So the most prominent label, the label on the top, says made in India. But very, very clearly here, there's a label covered up saying made in China. Interesting. I'm not judging, but it is interesting, is it not? In fact, there's another label underneath there. So we've got at least 3 labels, possibly 4, but I think this is just a blank label covering up an old label. So yeah, interesting. Anyway, enough of that. Let's focus on what's in here, because I have an objective viewpoint. As you know, I am, let's zoom out. As you know, I am predominantly a fan of vintage Filofaxes, but I do like this box, by the way. I love this box, and I'm so pleased it comes in a box. But let me tell you the story about this. So I bought this from John Lewis, my local John Lewis store. John Lewis have had a relationship with and have been dealers in Filofaxes for at least 30 years. I bought my first Filofax Sherwood, which is this very one, which is old and battered, but with excellent quality, has lasted well, and I use this daily, as I've said many times before, and I use this as an index at the moment, but it's been used for other things, and it's lasted the test of time. And I bought this in 1993 from John Lewis, and here I am buying from John Lewis my second Filofax from them, given even though there's been a gap of 30 years odd. But here we are. This is a Filofax Malden. It's not the first Filofax Malden I have bought, because I bought one 2.5 years ago from Amazon, which quite clearly was a fake. So I have stated my intention this year to review as many of the current lineup, as many of the current models as I can. I just want to say that I bought this with my own money, so I feel free to talk about this and review it in an objective manner without any obligation to Filofax themselves. And I think that is a good way of providing an objective review of the product. And I would not normally buy a modern Filofax, simply because I like the vintage Filofaxes so much. I'm a bit of a vintage guy, so there's no need for me. I don't have a need to buy one of these. Although it is nice to buy a new binder. Let me take my watch off because it's banging against the table here. So this is the Malden organizer, and I am confident that this is a genuine binder. It's supplied to me with my own money from my local WX Smith store, and I have no reason to doubt that this is a genuine article. So I'm going to go through it systematically and tell you what I think about it, and then obviously you are the final arbiter of. You will be reviewing my review, as it were. So I just want to say, first of all, I am very, very impressed with the box. I've always liked these boxes. I can't actually remember whether vintage binders came with a box like this, but it is good quality. It is quality. Let me just have another look at this label on here. So we have got on this packaging, I won't zoom in again, but it does say made in India. But what I'm going to do, if I can, is find out why there are two labels on here. What does the other label say? It'd be interesting. So I'm just going to... This is going to be a bit of a long review. So what I'm going to do is, if those of you are in a hurry for my final verdict, I will do a conclusion at the end. I know some people are saying, "Come on, you'll get to the point. Get to the point." But what I'm trying to do is just I can remove that. Okay. So let's just see what it says underneath. God, I'm just making a pig's ear of this. I don't know. I've really got to. I really need a magnifying glass to see this, but I can't see it. I can't see it. If I am successful in separating the top and the bottom labels, then I will. Oh no, maybe. Are we going to do it? Maybe. Oh, here we go. No, maybe not. It's infuriating, but I will have a look at that later. Okay, so we are where we are. So Malden in personal size, and this is the in ochre, and it says leather, dated, planner, personal size. Okay, well, my first impressions of the packaging is that the packaging is excellent. I mean, it's lovely. I mean, I think Filofax are masters at getting the packaging right. But before we do anything else, there's a couple of things that we really need to test immediately. First is flatability. So let's have a look at this. Now, the thing about flatability with the Malden, this particular model, is I have on social media asked... Oh, there's a bit of an indentation there. I don't know whether you can see that. Yeah, there's a bit of quite a large indentation there. That's a bit disappointing. That is disappointing. And there's another mark there. Yeah, why is there an indentation there? Okay, well, we'll see whether any other defects. But first of all, flatability, because lots of people have alluded to the notion that flatability isn't what it used to be with a Malden. But let's have a look. So this is the first time I'm doing this. Well, it's not perfect, but it's not snapping at my fingers like a clamshell as soon as I release it. But my gut feeling is that the method of construction is not aiding perfect flatability, but my feeling is that the construction feels like it's just one piece of stiffener, one piece of stiffener going all the way from this side to this side, which doesn't lend itself to perfect flatability. However, I would give it initially a 7 out of 10. My gut feeling, I don't know what the stiffener is. I mean it's generally some kind of cardboard possibly, but obviously I'm not going to cut it open and have a look, but I suspect that's what's inside it. It feels like a one-piece stiffener. There are no seams here and here that enhance the flatability, and flatability, at least to me, is very important, and to many of you I do know that flatability is important to you as well. But if I owned one of these and used it every day, I think the flatability is acceptable. It's slightly disappointing that it's not perfect out the box like some binders of yesteryear. So this one, I don't know whether you can see. Yes, I'm sure you can, but the construction is more sophisticated with this Filofax Sherwood, which is 30 years old, than this, which is not quite as involved. But I feel confident that this is acceptable. I feel it's acceptable. If you are a right-handed person, then this very, very stiff strap is probably going to do your head in, as we say in the UK. Here in the UK, that is going, as you're writing, it's going to be touching. It doesn't lay flat. It's like as stiff as a stiff thing, and so that is disappointing. That is disappointing. Let me just compare it to here. This is disappointing too, but it's the difference. The difference is, I know it's fashion, I know it's the design, but maybe I shouldn't really complain. But I personally prefer this kind of strap to this thing, but I do appreciate it's the fashion. So maybe I shouldn't be so harsh on there. The popper just says it's overstamped Filofax. It doesn't have the name of the manufacturer. But having said that, I think these are improvements to the vintage Filofaxes because they look like they're an integral, or the metal cap is probably more likely to survive than the plastic caps of old on the prim fasteners that were fitted to many of the vintage Filofaxes of the 20th century. But flatability, well, it could be better, but it's acceptable in my opinion. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Let's have a look at the rings. And I'm going to zoom in again because this is the reason why I reckon this is the Achilles heel of modern Filofaxes. For whatever reason, they seem to be missed at the factory and then get sent out in boxes where the rings are misaligned, and then they get sent out. Presumably they're not checked at the distribution centre either, and they get sent out to customers, and then the customer finds that the rings are misaligned and then have to be sent out. And to be fair to Filofax, they have excellent customer service. So every time I've heard about misaligned rings, they replace it or refund it as required, without any sort of arguments. As far as I'm concerned, I feel more confidence at buying from my local store, because technically I would have a chance to look at the rings in the store before I purchased, if it was on the shelf, or or if it was just passed over the counter in a box, I could literally just open the box and have a look while I'm still in the store, and then I would be able to decide whether to immediately hand it back or accept it. I'm delighted to say that these are perfect. So that is a relief. Very, very pleased with that. So full marks to Filofax for checking this so that I didn't have to. Fantastic. As far as the ring mechanism concerned, as with many Filofax binders these days, it is a riveted. The attachment is through a pair of rivets. Some people like that, some people don't. But to be honest, the ring mechanism feels strong and smooth, and it has just the right amount of bite. And so I would be happy with that. I'm not too much of a ring mechanism snob, but I do like the vintage ones that are attached in a more traditional way compared to these riveted on ones. But I do see the advantages of riveted ones when you want to de-ring the binder, or you want to renew the rings, replace them with another set, or change the size of the rings. I mean, there are possibilities, as we know, and it's probably easier to do it if you have this kind of mechanism. So I have no complaints there. The mechanism does its job. So let's have a look at the construction details. I'm looking at this is the controversial thing, isn't it, that I'm going to talk about now. The controversial thing is the leather. And I'm not making any judgments, but my impression is that the leather feels okay. The stitching looks neat and tidy. The actual strap is actually fitted, and it's at 90 degrees to the binder, which is good. It feels well constructed. I'll tell you what I do like, and I'm quite impressed with this, is the corners here. And I'm going to zoom in and show you these corners, which are quite difficult to do. Filofax in the past, in the 70s and 80s, and possibly earlier than that, were absolute masters at getting this right. And I'm pleased to say that these are pretty good. These corners are pretty good. The way they've fabricated the corners here, pretty good. They're on a par with the corners of, this is again my Filofax Sherwood that I've had for 30 years. They're on a par. In fact, if anything, the modern Filofax Malden is slightly neater than well, the jury's out. They're good enough. They're good enough. I mean, there have been some absolute howlers in the model lineup. There we go. I was having trouble zooming out there. There have been some absolute howlers with regards to the corners there, but these look good. I'm happy with that. So externally, I have no complaints. It looks good. It looks smart. The leather. This is the first Malden that I have owned, other than the fake one I purchased from Amazon 2.5 years ago. But if I had one Filofax and it was this one, if someone gave me this as a gift, like a Father's Day, we're just coming up to Father's Day in the UK here. If one of my children had given me this as a gift and it was my first Filofax, I think I'd be very, very impressed. It feels good in the hand. The leather has a certain tactile quality to it. Obviously, the jury's out as to how long this particular leather would this last just as long if I used it daily as this one, which I've used daily, Filofax Sherwood, every day, more or less, for 30 years plus. So it is an interesting thing. Notice it's slightly bigger. It's slightly taller than one of these, and it is ever so slightly wider, but not by much. I always think it's amazing that the paper, the size format of the pages, remains the same today as it has done for over 100 years. I mean, where else can you? Where else can in modern in our modern manufactured society can you get such a consistent format? For size over 100 years. It's very rare, isn't it? I love this. I don't know what you call it, but I'm going to remove it in a minute. It's saying that the rings are 23 millimeters. Interestingly, it's let me zoom in again. Interestingly, it equates this to 0.91 inch rings. I've never seen that sort of format described before. It says 3 slip pockets, 4 card pockets, 1 zip pocket, and 1 notepad pocket, leather pen loop, secure strap closure, and then listing the accessories that comes with it. Inspiring you to make the most of your day every day. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, do I find this inspiring? Well, I'll let you know at the end in my conclusion. Paper from sustainable sources, so that's nice to see. So let's have a look at the interior. Now, as you know, I don't personally need pockets, although I have in the past used these pockets for many uses. So we've got a full-length pocket and then some card slots, and then at the back we've got a full-length pocket, and we've got a zipped pocket here. But what I want to do is have a look at these pockets. So first of all, this zipped pocket. Right. Let's see if we can. Okay, so it's sort of okay. It's a bit stuck here. Let's try that a little bit. Okay, I'm sure it's just teething troubles. It seems okay now. It just has a little bit of resistance there. You have to wiggle it, but that's fine. A zipped pocket is always useful, as we know. I mean, this I can understand the attraction of the Malden because it does have a lot of pockets, and I know that many people do like having all these pockets. So I'm not judging. It is a pocket. I'm going to see if I can remove this without tearing it. Can I do it? It's obviously been stuck on you with a disc here. I think I'm going to have to peel it off. There we go. Right, so we've got we've got everything exposed here. So we have one zip pocket, then we've got another pocket here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 card slots. Then we've got another full-length pocket that goes all the way into the corners of the Filofax. So a useful set of pockets. I always find that with a dashboard, it's difficult because when you're leaning on this dashboard, especially you haven't got a leather shroud for the zip. So this zip, you can really feel it. It's not a design to which a design philosophy to which I subscribe, because if you are writing, it doesn't matter whether you are right-handed or left-handed, the position of this zip is right where you're going to write. You're going to start the page here. There's no way around it. This is awkward. This is awkward. And okay, it's not going to be a problem for everyone. It might be a problem for some, but the zip is directly underneath the actual page where you're going to write. So you might have to take, if you want to write, well, you're going to have to find either a thicker piece of card or dashboard, but you're going to need something fairly hefty there because the zip is in the way. So from a point of view of practicality, having a zipped pocket here could cause problems when you're writing in your Filofax, because this is very lumpy, especially here. I personally would have the zip at the back, but this is not a full pocket. It's like a half pocket. What would I do? I mean, bearing in mind it's a zip pocket, I would have it personally the other way, so that this zip was actually here, and so you accessed it from this side rather than here. That might be a bit of an improvement. These are not too bad. These pockets here, it's the same as many Filofaxes, and a dashboard would be enough. To be honest, it would be more than enough. But you might need more than one dashboard, or a thicker dashboard, or make something yourself. But I definitely think having the zip here, especially with no leather cover, is something that I wouldn't personally do. But it is what it is. So we've got a lot of storage here, which is good for many people. Many people like that. The plastic ruler, it says copyright 2014. That's interesting. On right at the ends, and we've got this sort of the traditional protector to protect the leather against the indentations with the ring mechanisms in storage, I guess. And then at the back we have got another full-length pocket here, another very useful thing. We've also got a notepad pocket, which I would love to have had on my Filofax Sherwoods. But if I bought one of these to use, I would probably find this very, very useful indeed. One thing I don't like is the inbounds, the inbounds pen loop. I know that it's cheaper to have them inbound rather than outbound. If you have a look at an alternative Filofax, you'll see that there's two methods of construction here. Let me see if I can zoom in. So, okay, that's better, isn't it? So, on the left we have the Malden. Let me just try and do this. Okay, so on the left we have like the cheaper way of doing things. Just sew it into the hem and then point it inbounds. But as we know, inbounds pen loops like this can interfere with the dividers and tabs if you use them, whereas an outbound one here does take considerably more effort and work and design and time spent manufacturing, but it means it keeps it safely out of the way. The other thing you'll notice between the two is with, let me just see if I can find okay, so this is I need a snub nose one. So okay, so this is a Pelican pen, which would fit a Filofax. This is a Pilot V5, which I know will fit a standard Filofax pen loop. It's a bit tight, but look, it fits perfect. Now, if I do the same to that as if I do the same with the Malden, if I put it through, the problem is that there is a lip, because it's a folded over hem. Any snub-nosed pen, like a Pilot V5 or a V7, it's just going through, but it's catching inside the hem. And so that could be, over the course of time, that could be annoying, because the more you snag that hem, the more the hem is going to splay out and make it ever more difficult to get a snub-nosed pen in. Now, it's not a problem with a pointy pen, as I call them, like this. It works fine, but it is something to bear in mind, that if you have a modern Filofax and you have a snub-nosed pen, you may have problems fitting the snub-nosed pen in a modern pen loop. But I do understand why they do this, because it's obviously a lot cheaper to make this than this, which is one piece of full grain leather. There's no hem. It is what it is. There is considerable difference actually in the quality on the feel of the leather. Quality is a difficult thing to gauge and ascertain. It's very subjective, but this feels like a piece of leather. This feels, well, it feels like something else. I mean, it's leather, but it doesn't feel anything like as luxurious as this. This feels like it's come off an animal. You know, it's like a piece of leather. This. Oh, it's hard to quantify, but if it's a toss-up, as we say in the UK, if it's a toss-up between the two, I much prefer this type of leather to this type of leather. I really do. Interesting. When you compare the two, this just feels like leather. This feels. I mean, I know it's leather. It says it's leather, but it's a different kind of leather altogether to Filofaxes of yesteryear. Now, I know that is a contentious issue, so I'm not going to bang on about it too much, but it is a personal opinion of mine. So, as far as the design is concerned, I'm not really a fan of this outbound. This inbound pen loop, but I appreciate why they use that nowadays compared to the outbound pen loop, which costs more for them to make. They've obviously got to make a profit. They've got shareholders to think about. So, you know, I'm sure the shareholders would much prefer to have slightly better dividends through the use of this type of inbound pen loop, which can be quickly sewed into the hem, as it were. But I do like the pocket flap, and it is what it is. I think that the stitching is very, very good quality. It looks and feels very neat. Looks like it will last a long time. And it says, let's see what it says here. So there we go. So Filofax Malden, personal organizer, antiqued leather. Now, I don't know whether that's marketing speak or whether it's an actual technical description that's accepted in the leather industry, but I don't really know what antiqued leather is. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I am wondering though. I mean, I don't have the experience of this because this is the first Filofax Malden that I've had in my possession. I don't know whether Maldens, when they first came out many years ago, because this production run of the Malden has gone on for some time, but as many of you know, there have been lots of comments to basically saying that the leather is not as good as it used to be. It's not as soft and squidgy as it used to be. But I'll do a sniff test. It doesn't really smell much of leather. I'm just going to compare it with my... Yeah, I mean, this is 30 years old. It smells the leather smells stronger, in my opinion. But it is just my opinion. It's difficult to say whether it smells of leather or not, but it doesn't smell. It doesn't have a very strong leathery smell. Very difficult. Maybe I don't have a strong sense of smell. I don't know, but we are where we are. So what do we get in 2024? Well, we get a dashboard. Let's have a look at this. This says made in India, and I can see underneath there is another label that also says made India. So maybe this one also says made in India underneath. I was basically trying, not for the bedevilment of it, but I was trying to ascertain why they'd slapped additional stickers on the box and in the Filofax and on the outer cover. But you have a standard dashboard, and then you have the ubiquitous 6 card dividers, which haven't changed in years and years and years. Let's see what sort of fill we get. So we get some to-do lists, and then some writing paper. Quite a generous fill, actually. In fact, there's more. This is interesting. There's more fill in this than there was in the Saffiano compact zip I bought for the purposes of testing a few weeks ago. Some gridded paper, some plain paper, and then what are these? These are contacts. Yeah, so that's self-explanatory. And then some coloured paper. Quite a lot of coloured paper. Yeah, I think Filofax have been quite generous with this. But then we have the 2024 diary. This is cotton cream, which I believe is 90 GSM instead of 80 GSM. I'm not sure whether this is fountain pen friendly, but it's a traditional week on 2 pages. Looks very nice. I've always been impressed with the quality of Filofax diaries, particularly since they introduced a fountain pen friendly version. I don't know whether this is fountain pen friendly, but other people can let me know. I don't want to mark it because I may have plans for this Filofax. Indeed, I may even put it on eBay after I've reviewed it in a few weeks' time. I might dispose of it. I don't know. I didn't buy this to keep. I bought it for the purposes of reviewing, and I use my own money to do that. You've got one of these plastic pockets at the end, and there we have it. So that's so a generous fill, cotton cream diary, very nice. Luckily the rings are perfect. I'm very, very pleased with that. As you can probably see, opening this a few times, and I haven't bent it back. So I mean, if I was having this to keep, I would manipulate it and train the leather. It's difficult to know whether training the leather actually works, but it probably has some effect. It all depends on the man-made substrate underneath this thin veneer of leather. But do you know what? I am pleasantly surprised, and I got it at a good price. In fact, I've noticed one or two other people have taken advantage of the recent sort of double special offer at Filofax. Interestingly, I think I paid £52 for this. So this I went into the store. Well, I ordered online, so click and collect, ordered online, and then yesterday I went to, as you saw at the beginning of the video, I went to pick it up, and using my environmentally friendly bicycle, and it's a nice trip through the woods to my local city centre. my shopping mall, if you like, and just a pleasant day. But I'm really pleased that I didn't suffer the disappointment of opening it and finding that the rings were damaged or there was some other issue. There is a slight mark here, as you can see, but I can live with that. I'm not going to worry about that too much. In fact, it'll probably disappear with use, I'm sure. The quality is very good. The presentation is good. The packaging is excellent, and I had good service, prompt service and delivery and collection from my W. Smith store. What's not to like? If I was into modern filofaxes, I would probably personally go for a heritage, and I've discussed this before. But this is obviously a very popular model, which is probably the reason why Filofax have been running so long with this. But this is my conclusion. Riveted construct. For those that want to fast forward to the end, hello, thank you for joining me in this video. So just for you, I'm just letting you know that I this is a Filofax Malden, lots of pockets. I'm pleased with the quality, a genuine feel. The flatability seems to be quite reasonable. I'd give it a 7 out of 10, but to be honest, after opening it, shutting it a few times, doing this review, it's now verging on an 8 out of 10. So that's excellent. I would be proud to possess this as my only binder. If I was just getting into Filofaxes, this might be the one I would choose. Although to be honest, I'm not a fan of pockets, so I would probably go for the heritage one. But I would, if someone gave me this as a gift, I would be very happy with it. Thank you very much for watching, and that concludes my review of the 2024. Well, I don't know when this was made. I mean, it could have been made in an earlier year and just being in storage, but here I am. I purchased this in June 2024, and that concludes my Filofax Malden review. Thanks very much for watching.